Depressed/suicidal people of Reddit, what keeps you going, and what would you recommend doing if those thoughts come to your mind? My cat. I couldn't imagine leaving and letting him think that I abandoned him. That's wholesome. Maybe I'll get myself a cat again someday. I would definitely recommend getting an emotional support animal, literally just a regular pet with a doctor's note. It's pretty easy to get a doctor to sign off on letting you have one, and that way if you live somewhere where they don't usually allow pets, you can still have them. But they truly do help if you are struggling to see the purpose of your life. Because at bare minimum your purpose will be to make sure some little animal eats dinner. I'll talk with my doc soon and I will ask him about this. Thank you, I haven't considered this before. My cat was the best thing that ever happened to me when I was at rock bottom. Get yourself a fluff, thank them later, 2 hearts. Trust me, this works. I've been depressed for many years now and I have a dog since 2 years and holy F I love her. She is always there for me and she goddamn knows well when I'm feeling like crap, she'll come cuddle more than a regular day. Definitely consider it, they change your life. A friend of mine has told me that he wouldn't be here if it wasn't for his dog. He got a doctor's letter citing it as an assistance animal, and they went everywhere together. I want to nitpick that technically, if a person has been diagnosed with a disability and working with a medical professional, an ESA is not just a pet. It is a therapeutic intervention. I know, all of the activities you do with an ESA are no different from the care of another pet, but the difference is the person needs that activity to mitigate their disability. Saying they're just a pet takes away from the fact they are a civil right used to give people with disabilities the opportunity to live independently and cope with a disability. Just be careful with that too. I live for my cat, but sometimes depression is too high that even if my cat is my son and my depression still affects her too, since I sometimes can't get up and attend her because I lose my will entirely. I force myself to do so of course, but she shouldn't be the one who also suffers because I don't have the energy to go on a walk with her every day, or because I forget to give her food in time, or wash her blankets every weekend because she has a continence problem. She's old now so it's normal. Go to the vet every month just to be sure she's doing okay. She gets sad that I'm sad and she gets bored and anxious too. She's a very childlike and active 14-year-old. I would get an older one 4+ years old. They just like to sleep, eat, and be loved. Mine is now 6. She's amazing. Snoring next to me as I write this. This is exactly the same reason for me. Having BPD makes me extremely suicidal. My psychiatrist even wrote in his official notes that my long-term prognosis is not great. 10% of people with BPD will die as a result of suicide, and I've long believed that I will eventually be one of them. Having other comorbid issues doesn't help either. My cat is the only thing keeping me here. I have vowed that, no matter how bad things get, I won't end it while she's still alive. I love her more than anything, and we are practically attached at the hip. I've been studying from home due to COVID, so I spend almost all of my time with her. She's the first thing I see when I wake up in the morning. Every single night, we fall asleep cuddled up to one another. If I died, she'd have to sleep alone. I could never hurt her like that. Once she's passed, it'll be a different story. But I'm sticking it out for her. Good luck on your journey and hopefully you push on even after they pass to honor their memory. Thank you for your kind words. I'm trying my hardest to keep going. Hopefully I'll be able to build a life worth living even after my best friend has passed on. Honestly, my ferret Noodle is one of the only things that keeps me going every single day. I know that little girl needs me, and I need her. Yup, for me it's my dog. It was the same for me. I went through a very bad period about 2 years ago where I was planning a timeline for when I was going to be finished. I figured I'd make it through my brother's wedding, so then my parents would have some nice, updated family pictures to look at when I was gone, and then I was planning to overdose. I just couldn't figure out the piece about where my dog would go, though. She was older, and I figured she was unlikely to be adopted at the shelter. She was also enormous, so I couldn't think of any friends off the top of my head who would be able to adopt her. So I just didn't kill myself. It seemed irresponsible to abandon her like that. After a few years of therapy, I am much better now. My dog passed away about 6 weeks ago at the age of almost 11. She was a Great Dane, so she lived an almost freakishly long life. My partner told me that he fully believes that she hung on until I was strong enough to say goodbye. I really think he's onto something. Same. Literally, the only thing keeping me on this earth right now is that my cat needs me. Toes on a high ledge. No. I can't do it today. I miss cat cuddles. Same. When I was a suicidal teen, I realized one day after not being home for 20 days that my cat obsessively followed and showed affection for a long time after that. Even if no one else notices or seems to mind my absence, my safe return meant the world to her. She was so worried and made me know it. I couldn't bring myself to let her be alone again. I now take all road trips with my cat as my co-pilot. Same here. She's been my primary life reason for 19 years. She just got diagnosed with kidney disease. I have about a year to figure out another reason to live. I realized there's a difference between wanting to commit suicide and wanting to not be alive. The hassle of committing suicide kind of kills it as an option to deal with the depression. It's like I'm too depressed to commit to committing suicide. Also, I've recently had the serendipitous fortune of running across a series of images of suicide victims. Mostly self-gunshot victims. That crap is horrifically violent. I can't commit to making my wife finding me that way. I've held the gun to my head, but it's just way too violent to have that mess be the last thing you leave behind. I've thought about jumping from bridges, but you read some of the stories about EMTs having to recover bodies and I couldn't do that to strangers either. A lot of my depression is exacerbated by feeling alienated by my peers and my family. It feels like no one sees you. I wrote a short story about it. About being invisible. The takeaway, though, was that just because you're invisible it doesn't mean you're not there. You are a person and that comes with a minimum amount of self-worth and self-respect, and that means practicing self-grace and self-compassion. The same amount you would give to any friend or any person you would consider a friend if you had one. You can be alone. You can be broken and not fit in. You can have no will to live, but that doesn't have to be the end of your story. Edit. I never anticipated this response and all these awards in the middle of the night. Thanks to everyone. Much love to all the sad souls out there keeping it up one day at a time. I don't know if any of you are interested in reading my thinly veiled invisibility story, but message me and I'll message it back to you. I wouldn't even consider myself an amateur writer, but it's for a class. I'm trying to replace my addictions by pursuing things I love, and my wife said it's good. Edit 2. So Reddit stopped me from individually responding to each of you. I'm going to share my story as a comment on this thread. Hope you find it and it is received well. My doctor said that's why antidepressants have warnings about suicide. A lot of depressed people are just too depressed to make themselves bother with it. When they start taking the meds, they get a bunch of energy right away but are still dealing with the depression and suicidal thoughts. It takes longer to fix those. So now, they are suicidal and have the energy to do something about it. But yeah, the thought of screwing up my suicide and having to live in whatever awfulness I caused for myself, and knowing I couldn't even get that right. That thought is one of the reasons I'm still here. My therapist gave me similar advice concerning our game plan to tackle my depression/addiction issues. He said your addiction is how you're coping with depression, and we had to deal with both at the same time because if I removed my addiction without replacing it with a healthier coping mechanism to reduce my depression it could put me over the edge. Definitely didn't see that kind of advice coming. Great therapist. That explains a lot of things. Came here to say this. I started ketamine treatments for my depression and I told my doctor after my third treatment that it was weird that I didn't feel depressed but I was still wanting to kill myself. She mentioned this effect with antidepressants as well. After the fourth treatment, the thoughts of killing myself mostly went away. My ketamine therapy was great the first 5 times. On the 6th, the doctor forgot to include a nausea medicine and bumped up my ketamine dose a bit too much. I went on an hour-long trip through the kind of hell you see in the Hellraiser movies. Like people being skinned and all other manner of horror. I think the too high dosage and missing the nausea meds is what pushed me into the dark and horrific experience. Completely undid all the progress ketamine had brought me. That was about a year and a half ago. I am considering trying it again at a different clinic, but I'm terrified of ending up in that hellscape again. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry you experienced that. My 7th dose was bumped up 10 milligrams and I did think I was dying. I remember crying a lot and being worried about my kids. Straight up felt like a near-death experience, but I did feel much better in the following days. I try to just remind myself during the sessions that what I experience during the session isn't what I'm there for. I try to focus on the repairing that it's doing to the neurons in my brain. I'm going in for my 8th visit tomorrow. It's been 4 weeks since my last and I could tell last week that it was time. It's the only thing that's worked for me. How was the ketamine treatment for you? I've been looking into it with my family as another way to combat my severe depression. I guess what I'm trying to ask was how you felt during the infusion. How you felt afterwards. I had a friend go on a 6-month-long state of psychosis after having ketamine for general anesthesia. I know it's not the same at all, dosage-wise that is. I've just tried to tackle my depression multiple ways, and you're the first I've heard that's used ketamine treatment. Fear and desire are great motivators in any area of our lives. I believe that for suicidal people, fear is the fuel that keeps us going, at least until it doesn't, and that's why it's important to replace fear with desire. I had some suicidal thoughts when I was a teen. Then I stumbled across the article that said that even if you visit the bathroom before killing yourself, you'll not be able to release all the waste, some always remains inside, and when you die and your body fully relaxes, it'll be all over the place. Finding the hanged is especially remarkable. After reading that, my suicidal thoughts were always followed by damn, I don't want to be found covered in crap. F. Crap. Bitch. Yeah, I'm Sheck Wes. I had a friend hang himself and his poor destroyed family had to deal with that in their own driveway after losing their only kid. I know your feelings. I tried to commit suicide about a month ago, drove out to the middle of nowhere, hopped in the back of the car. Took a massive IV oxycodone, plus, other meds overdose. Somehow survived. Doctors were shocked that I managed to IV a gram of oxycodone and several grams of other pharma drugs. It's like I wasn't supposed to die and I have to continue. Live daily pain. But yeah, that's life. Have to go to the pharmacy every day now, they don't trust me with meds. Never felt calm and contentment like I did in the 24 hours leading up to overdose. Just surviving made me think I was supposed to live. Number 1 cares thou. Still alone, just need to make it to the next goalpost. One day at a time. Did something similar except with a gram of fentanyl and 80 milligrams of oxycodone. I was alone in my room. Was in the midst of a massive opioid addiction and lost my girlfriend of 3 years. Fell out and woke up in my bed with a puddle of blood that leaked from my nose, and it was 2 days later. Nobody would have found me for weeks, and it horrifies me to think about to this day. You said it perfectly. It's like I wasn't supposed to die. I also live in daily pain. I'm still alone. Nobody wants to spend time with me. But I've since overcome my addiction and am 32 days clean as of this morning. I've also never felt calm and contentment like this. It's just one day at a time, alone with the gods. We'll make it through this, man. Yeah, I lost my girlfriend too. She overdosed after our best friend was murdered. 2020 was a super rough year. I just lost all will to live, and it just kept getting worse. Opioid addiction is the toughest thing I've ever faced. However, the doctors think I'll likely need it forever due to an injury and a surgical mishap. Just on 3 times collects a week instead of monthly scripts. Honestly, I don't mind it. I was usually going through them way too fast. And this keeps me stable and controls my pain. I'm not sure if I'll ever be able to come off them. How did you manage it? Yeah, I woke up after day and a half. No one would have found me for months, or years where I went, planned it down to the detail. It was a beautiful place. You feel the same as me. The calm was overwhelming, and being able to keep that calm has kept me alive, I think. I'm happy to talk anytime, fellow soul. We do it one day at a time. I'm glad you commented. I'm so sorry to hear that, man. Mine thankfully didn't overdose. She just kind of left all my crap on the porch one day when I came home from work, and I was kind of left to the wolves. No family I could go to, no real friends. Your situation sounds so much darker though, and I commend you for keeping it going and facing each day. You're stronger than you know. 2020 was an awful year. I've noticed it was like that for basically everybody. It's terrible that a lot of people like us just got worse through it all, and while there's support networks, it's mostly insufficient. We need to be in it together, for one another. Also, being forced into an opiate addiction medically is really tough. Especially if it's malpractice, like you said. That's good you're doing weekly spread pickups though, that really does help manage it. If you use super heavy, the withdrawals just go into deeper and deeper rings of hell. But if you ever find yourself in a situation to come off them, the way I did it was the Suboxone/Naloxone route. That, combined with therapy, and the true internal desire to quit, I was able to do it. I went the methadone route before that, with just the required 1 day a week counseling, but it was useless. I was on 120 milligrams and still doing like a half gram of fent on top of it. Just getting completely dick to the floor effed. But I wanted more of myself. I wanted to be able to wake up every day without my body feeling like it was collapsing in on itself until I could make the hour walk to the clinic, then the other hour walk to the dope man. I don't wish that on anyone. So TLDR, you have to have willpower. The true desire in your soul to quit. Then get therapy. Then get medical attention. Never go cold turkey. I don't mean wean off of the opiates you're using, but go get some help. I swear by Subutex, I wasn't getting high and I felt like a normal person. And it was so easy to come off. I'm happy to talk anytime as well, fellow human. I'm glad you commented as well, much love to you. And keep your head up, forests always come back stronger after being burned to the ground. One day at a time eventually gets you there. Good luck in your journey, definitely sounds like the universe still has plans for you. Thanks. I've seen my friend die, partner overdosed. Infected so many people in January 2020 without knowing I had the plague. Ruined a lot, felt like it was the best ending for everyone. But you're right. Clearly, the universe has something else planned. I take those signs seriously. Kept the calm feeling I got before I was going to die. Life is weird. But thanks for reading. I'm deeply sorry for all your pain. I hope you can find a way to receiving more compassion in your life. You truly deserve it. Sending you a bunch of care and warmth, if you would like it, yellow heart. I wish I knew the best answer for this. I just hope things will get better, and tell myself to stick around because things could change. I could change too. I think of my friends too. I really hope you'll get through this, bro. You can DM me all the time if you need someone to talk to. Everyone is always changing, it's a part of life. But depression can hold you hostage. Watching others live their life, while you get stuck, is difficult. This is really important. Nothing ever stays the same, who you are and how you feel right now always passes. When you get to somewhere better, you will see how it was worth it, and everything you learned will make your appreciation and love of life and others all the more profound. But you have to hold on and keep going. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.